should be responsible for whatever season way.
Now with that, maybe this.
I mean, it's not like Boca is a great destination place.
I think they normally this week.
Good luck.
Very time.
Nice wrestling team wrestling outside.
Coach Lunney headed out.
Thanks.
All right, everybody, how you doing?
Good.
See everybody? Just gonna get rolling here.
Obviously, an explosive day. What like the success or what stood out to you watching the film?
Yeah, our players played really well, and executed at a high level at times, obviously, and wasn't consistent all the way through the game. But, was pleased with the way we played just holistically. Anytime you play, a Big Ten opponent and you score, 5 touchdowns in a game, I think that's a good thing, and that's probably the way our guys played.
Luke, looks like it's a little thing, but you threw the ball away, I think, at really good times. What would you see from just a decision to not try to force anything and just look for another down?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's his job, to do that. And this deep into his career, I think he understands, how to, when to take risk or, which doesn't do very often, and when to, just move on to, even if it's a punt, like we want to end every drive with a kick in some capacity. And we did that we were able to do that on Saturday in regards to just, taking care of the football. So I thought he did a nice job in those moments and those decisions that he needed to move on, whether it was on first down or third down. I thought he played a good game, competed hard, made some really critical throws at some really critical times. 2 third down conversions. There were huge third and long conversions to Cap, the one he threw to Cap, and then the one that Pat and him connected on were huge moments in the game for us. And those guys we protected extremely well in those moments. We ran really detailed routes, and man, it was really good to see because those both directly resulted in touchdowns for us, and were huge factors in the game.
Coach Josh McCray kind of quietly has become quite a player for you. A very reliable running back. What's gone into that for him, and what would you say about him stepping up into that role?
Did a great job and has continued to do a great job, and had some great finishes the other day in the red zone. Found his way in there. Obviously 3 different times too. All 3 of them were relatively short runs, but really good runs too. Like the first one, I think it was a 9-yarder. I mean, it was just, it was covered up pretty well. Our guys did a good job. And obviously, backs aren't going to have success if the line's not doing well. And I thought the line covered them up pretty consistently the other day. And but Josh and I think the committee of backs, I think all 3 of those guys, and then obviously a 4th with Jordan, continue to know their role. They share the wealth of the game, and I think that's a healthy situation for our offensive football team. But Josh has done a really nice job.
Barry, how has Pat evolved the most this year? What has he added to his game? It's just
I think the biggest thing for Pat is he has become the alpha of that room, and probably on our offensive unit. I mean, just his leadership and his voice has really taken off. And I think he's a similar player that he was last year. I mean, as far as his physical skill set, but I think his leadership and him stepping in that role has helped propel his game to another level. I thought Pat had a good year last year, but he's had a really good year this year, if not a great year to this point. And but I think the fact that we had Isaiah and Casey last year, who were kind of those guys, the older guys, and but I think Pat has really accepted that role and has taken off and run with that. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen from him is just his willingness to speak. Not that it wasn't there before, but like he's just really taken over the leadership role, and he plays like it, he practices like it, he carries himself around the building like it. He's everything you want in a leader.
You mentioned Cap, just a big play. How much did that mean to see him make that? How much went into that?
A lot goes into that, and he could probably tell you a lot about it, and to have a young man like that who has not seen the field a lot, but just continues to stay in there at practice, it really just exemplifies, what you want in every player that has not had a significant role to this point in the season, or as significant as they would like. Cap's had a significant role, probably hasn't been as much as he would like, but he has continued to work, and when his moment came, in a very huge moment of the game the other day, he ran a great route, finished it, dropped, stepped, and to get the first down. And it didn't show up in the box score other than a one catch for 16 or 17 yards, but it was a huge moment in the game, and really proud of him. And there's others that have taken advantage of their moments like that similarly, but that really jumped off to me on Saturday because of the significance it played into it resulting in a touchdown.
Coach, you know, you've got your own stuff going on, but did you see Tommy DeVito is going to start this coming Sunday? And your thoughts on that? And then the other part is that could you see Luke at some point being that kind of guy?
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that. Art told me about that, and so what can I can say is that most of we'll be pumped for him, for his opportunity, and what happened to him last year was awesome to see. I'm sure he'll take advantage of his moment and situation, and that's one of the things about our that we take a great deal of pride in. That under coach's leadership is the preparation that our program does for guys for their opportunity for the next level. And so whether it's Luke Altmaier or Pat Bryant or whatever guys we have in our program, we feel like we're trying to prepare them for the best we can, A, to play the best football they can play while they're here, but also B, for a moment and opportunity that can present themselves on the next level. We take a great deal of pride in that. And obviously, I think Luke's got a lot of talent. He's a very talented player. You guys all know that. We all know that. He's playing at a really high level. And, obviously, you don't ever get in a comparison game or whatever, but I think both really good players in their own right. And I think Luke's got a really bright future ahead of him.
There was a great history here for a while with Jeff George was down there. There was Trudeau and those guys playing in the NFL. Then there was a gap in there, I think. Now you got the chance to maybe have a couple or 2 or 3. I assume that helps you in every level, right?
Well, sure, yeah, in all positions, right? But specifically about that one, that's awesome to have Tommy there, and we had him for a year and felt like he had a really good year while he was here and helped propel us to a really good a good season. And I think that's always a good reference point for recruits at that position to say here. Obviously most people are familiar with Tommy, and John last year got a great had a good opportunity all the way through camp, and may have more opportunities coming forward for him as he hangs in the business a little bit. So, that's always a positive thing.
I know we've talked a lot about the running back by committee approach that you guys have, but how do you guys, can you walk us through how you go about maybe designating how many opportunities in a game a guy gets?
Yeah, I mean, there's some obviously some thought and detail about what we're calling in relation to who's in the game, because they certainly have strengths. That they're a little bit more focused than maybe another guy comparatively, like where they are in their scale as far as their development and those types of things. And I know Thad does a great job of managing that, and we put some time and consideration into, hey, I'll give them a heads up about what I'm about to call or what, and there's certain calls that Thad recognizes and hears and knows who we need in there or what we need in there. But we have, at the end of the day, we have confidence in all 3 of those guys, and I would be remiss if I didn't include Jordan in that, because it's true about Jordan. Like we would have full confidence in all 4 of those guys to do whatever we want to, whatever we can call in our scheme, protections, routes, run schemes, whatever that may be. But so that goes into a little bit, and then some of the feel of the game, and hey, it's your series, this series, and it's his series, and now it's a 3rd down, and maybe it's this look, or there's a lot that goes into that. I think Thad's done a phenomenal job of managing that, and I think our players have done a great job of helping each other out in that regard.
Luke Altmaier's been very good when he has a clean pocket. What did you see from the pass section this week? Seemed like he improved quite a bit. How important is that in these last 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, that's always important to your point. I mean, I would say most quarterbacks probably are a little bit more effective and highly rated, when the pocket's clean. And but you could go on a list of laundry things there about, or the route detail is the route detail there is, is he seeing things right? There's a lot that goes into that, but I was pleased with the way we protected overall. I was pleased with the way the whole line played overall, and I thought they really played a clean game for us. And we had minimal, negative yardage plays. and that always starts up front. And I thought they did a good job. Real proud they competed, had a lot of knockdowns. They'll need to play well again this week because that's an important factor on any offense, but it's really important for our offense to stay on schedule, protect our quarterback, give him a clean pocket, because when we do that, our guys can get open and we have good things that happen in the passing game.
Have you made any changes or adjustments to protection, or is it same scheme?
Yeah, for the most part, it's been there were some adjustments Saturday after the open date, and just some of the complexities that we felt like we were going to see third and long. We made some adjustments, and that I think was good for us. And we're always trying to tweak and adjust what we do in protection game. How we use the back, how we use the tight end. Are we getting all out? Is it 5-man? Is it 6-man? Is it 7-man? Is it move in the pocket? Is it slide? Is it gap? Is it man? All those things, So we have a myriad of those protections, and our guys understand them well, and I thought we executed that plan pretty well on Saturday.
Luke said he thought Michigan State had kind of the most exotic looks at getting. I'm curious if that's something you saw coming into that, or do you feel like teams are trying to get exotic?
No, we knew that was coming, and they had shown it previously, and every week you get into that situation. Number one, you got to minimize, how many times you get exposed to those moments, right? And so we did a fairly good job of that the other day. I think our average distance for third down was like 5.5 yards, maybe 5.8, just around 6 yards, and which is a lot more manageable than it is when it's 3rd and 8. And I'm not pleased with it being 6. It needs to be lower than that, but. But the more you put yourself in 3rd and long moments when there's not as much threat as a direct run, then people can get more exotic on you. And the more exotic it gets, the more time it requires to prepare for that. We put a lot of time and effort into what we thought we were going to see. Inevitably, we always are going to see something new, a new wrinkle, but your rules and principles should be able to handle that. And I thought our guys did a nice job on that Saturday, but certainly Michigan State was one of the more exotic teams that we see on 3rd down. Rutgers is similar in regard, very creative. Do a really good job in their 3rd down package.
What's been Zakari's impact for the offense? Is being pretty sure-handed in those short and intermediate routes, just to have that kind of wrinkle.
Yeah, that's always been a strength of his, and that's one thing that hasn't showed up. That's also a strength of his is getting the ball down the field vertically. But a lot of people are staying on top of us. In the coverage structure. I think last week, they had some guys out. And so they were a little bit more, I think, intentional about staying on top of the coverage and making the ball be completed underneath. And Zakari's phenomenal in those underneath routes, and he's brought a lot of balance to the offense. He's really brought what we all thought, what I knew and what from the outside looking in, that we all thought he'd bring is stability, savviness, gamemanship. Knows how to play the game, loves to compete. He's been a really good teammate for us, and him and Pat continue to be a really good compliment to each other and make a great impact on the game. And we'll need him to down the stretch as well.
Barry, in terms of the 3 or 4-headed monster you right now have at tailback, how satisfied have you been in their pass protection? And when you have to keep them in, it seems like over the last few weeks or few games that they've been a lot cleaner in that regard.
Yeah, I would echo that, and I think again, I think they're coached well in that regard. We take a great deal of pride in that running back room of. That's a big factor in how you play the position, is how you protect the quarterback, protect the ball, and protect the quarterback. I think they've done a great job of that. And Khalil included, but Aiden has really made a good jump there. Josh has done a nice job really protecting and getting in there. There's some complication in there in those calls and those identifications and those types of things. There's some complexities there that require a lot of work and study and coaching. And thought our guys Bart and Byron and Thad and Dele and the group that's involved in that and did a great job of having their players prep for that last week.
What's unique about Rutgers?
Finish up with this one.
What's unique about Rutgers defense that stands out about them?
Well, they're big. They're really big. In their front seven, they're really big and physical, and they just play with so much. Yeah, I think just play with so much confidence in their scheme. They know it so well, inside and out. Been running for a long time now, and their coaches just do a great job of adjusting. It's a big, strong, fast, confident group. And so, obviously being on the road creates another level of challenge, with just noise and atmosphere, and there's a lot of pre-snap communication that's required. And so, a great deal of respect for what we're about to face. A similar tree from what we've been facing the last couple of weeks, but they have their own unique spin on that and their own, take on the defense that they're running, and I think they run it really well, and they play with a lot of confidence inside that.
Thanks.